Hey guys, before we get into the episode, I just wanted to preface that this episode does have some audio issues, as you can tell with Keenan's side of things. We weren't actually sure if this episode was going to get up, but we managed to fix it, and you can still understand what Keenan is saying, and it is an enjoyable episode nonetheless, so hopefully you will bear with us and give us some grace on that. In this episode, we get into a lot of Mandalorian castings and just Star Wars news in general, as well as our thoughts on Clone Wars Season 7. All of that and more coming up next.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get hurt? Consider this mercy. I am inevitable.
Welcome back to the Comic Blast podcast. I don't know why I have my audio levels. I need to see their beautiful faces. How's it going? I'm Grayson, as always. With me are my two beautiful co-hosts. Introduce yourselves, friends.
Hold on. I'm blushing. All right, so introducing ourselves. My name is Keenan. I've been here since day one with Grayson. You guys know me. If you don't, you should.
Yeah, you should know him by name.
My name is Cole. I am a recently added co-host to Comic Blast. When I was young, I crash landed on Earth's crust, and I have been attempting to assimilate into human society. So this is another way that I'm doing it. So don't tell anybody.
You're Superman?
Huh?
You're Superman?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm Clark Kent, new member of Comic Blast. It's
Hey,
really
Clark
it's really great to be here, guys. I hear a lot of people in trouble right now.
Clark Kent look to you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Wait, you know, I just realized you guys have like almost the same glasses.
Yeah, it's because when I got my glasses, Grayson was like, I should go get some of those glasses.
Well, okay. First of all, I did need new glasses, but also mine are not completely circular like Cole's are. All right, mine, they're like a.
Not that anyone can see,
you know?
but they're almost identical.
Though. We need to figure out next week how to record this.
Right,
so we can actually.
So I look like Harry Potter. Grayson looks like Clark Kent.
Yeah. If Clark Kent
I guess
was
that's
an
fine.
idiot.
I'd rather take.
But okay, but you don't know how many times people have called me like Harry Potter in the past week, and I'm like.
Well, I was. I already told you. I already told you this, Grayson, but. For Keenan and everyone that's listening, I was once in my car driving back home, and I had my windows down. I was playing some music, and I got to a stoplight, and some guy pulled right up next to me, and he rolled down his window. He was like, "Hey, man." I was like, "Hi." He's like, "You look like the guy that plays as Harry Potter." I'm like, "Thanks." He's like, "Do something." I'm like, Expelliarmus. He's like, "Hell, man. Hell yeah, man. You have a good night." And he just sped away, like right as the light turned green. Like it's.
Wait, what was he driving?
He was driving like some kind of Mustang.
Okay, see, for some reason I thought he was in the passenger seat of an 18-wheeler driving it by himself.
You know what? He might as well have been, because that was that chaotic energy he was giving.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was like chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
So I have a story on podcast topic related. I actually witnessed a police chase yesterday.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I was driving. I was pulling up to a stoplight last night, and as I was like approaching the light, this car just came like in between me and another car, swerving, almost hit my car, and I'm just like, whoa! I'm like, what is this guy's deal? And then I look in my rearview mirror, I just see a ton of police in the background.
Wow!
He just speeds off. It was great.
That was sick. You should have chased after him. Dude,
that's
you could have pulled a Nightcrawler and been like, we gotta get it. We gotta get the shot, you know?
Jeez, man,
dude,
why didn't I think of
Keenan,
that?
what if... Yeah, we need to... Dude, we should be like Rick and...
Lou Bloom.
What was Jake Gyllenhaal? Yeah, Lou Bloom. Freaking crazy, man.
We-
Am I Lou or am I Rick? I feel like you're Rick. I'm
Why
gonna
would
shoot
I
you.
be Rick?
I don't know.
How do I identify with Rick at all?
Because he's kind of like, he's pretty mellow.
I'm the one that's
but I'm
closest to
insane.
a sociopath.
Really?
You don't think
Oh,
so?
man. No.
The per-
we need to move forward.
I literally have
with
no
this.
emotions to anything.
Oh, well, that's true. But also, yeah, no, you got a point there.
Keenan, man, you look great
Dude,
today.
maybe. Yeah, you're looking fine.
Oh, dude,
Looking
he
snazzy.
smiled. There we go. We got some emotion
Oh,
in there.
stop.
He's not a robot.
Comic Blast psychology segment today.
There was something on the podcast last week. He was like, "I'm not an emotional person, but like blah blah blah," and I thought about that, and it stuck with me for a while, but clearly not enough because I don't remember what it was.
Just quoted him saying blah blah blah, and then you were like, "But it really stuck with me."
What exactly
It
stuck
was
with
something.
you?
It was like I
It's
don't know.
something
It was
to do
on
with
the
Ray,
thing last week.
probably.
I think it was about Ray. I think it was when he was talking
Yeah,
about
it
Ray
probably was.
and her past.
Yeah,
You were trying to
speaking
explain
of that,
like how you relate to her.
Yeah, maybe it was Luke. I don't know. One of the two.
Leia.
Those are the two that you.
A Star Wars character.
Bilbo Baggins, a Star Wars character. We're not gonna get into that discussion right now. We can't. Okay.
Yeah,
We need to move forward. This. Yeah. Welcome to our pre-show, but we actually had a show that might have been a pre-show had we started recording, but that's fine. Yeah. Welcome back to Comic Blast. Let's get through all of this stuff. It's been a weird week. Me and Keenan have been working a lot, and like Cole's been busy with school and everything. It's been crazy, man. But yeah, what do we normally start off with? Oh yeah, so social media. You should follow us on there at comicblast_ on Twitter and Instagram. We've made it known that it's not Facebook, and I'm glad to have known this, and I'm going to point it out every week till the end of time.
Do not
made a
poke us.
Facebook
We will
page.
not answer.
What did you say, Keenan?
I made a Facebook page.
Wait, you did?
No. Why would I do
No, you
that?
didn't.
That's awful.
Why would I do that?
You guys would kick me out.
Just to sabotage me. Plus, our personal social medias, or social media outlets. You can find me at Straightster8 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find Keenan at Keenan Creates on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find Cole at And the Force is With Me on Instagram and at The Cosmic Lotus on Twitter. I would tell Cole to switch those, but like they're both so good that I just can't will myself to be like, yeah, you need to change them to make them the same.
Yeah, it's too part to me. I just I don't know. I just can't do anything about it.
Especially because you like managed to get And the Force is With Me. Like we talked about that. Like the way you managed to snag that, and then the Cosmic Lotus is like, that's a classic. Your Twitter used to not be that. It used to be at the Red Hood 8.
Yeah,
and then I was like, that's got to change.
Yeah,
bro.
that was when
you
I
were
was
the
a child.
Red Hood 8?
Yeah. That was when I was a wee lad.
Yeah,
I
was
got
like 2
Twitter.
years
You
ago.
literally like your Twitter
Yeah.
was like you were actually like tried to be Red Hood on Twitter.
I was at the Red Hood 8, and my profile picture was a picture that I took of Red Hood from Arkham Knight. And like,
You had some bomb Arkham Knight photos, man.
yeah,
I've heard.
I was very well regarded in the Arkham community through the pictures that I took in Arkham Knight. But I
Yeah, they
don't
thought
play
you
that
were
game
like a-
anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our social media channels. You can also find us on Patreon. Help support us there. Our Patreon is patreon.com/comicblast. And we have one sponsor and 2 patrons. Our sponsor is Jess. You can ultimately find her at her Twitch on twitch.tv/female and fatal, but that's also on her Instagram as well. That's kind of her whole brand, and so she's been supporting us from the very beginning. From the very beginning has been at the sponsor level. So please go follow her. And we've actually been talking about possibly doing some collaborative streams where maybe a couple of us will go on the streams and play with her. And yeah, because Cole and I, we're all fairly decent gamers, Cole and I especially. And also, by the way, Cole and I are going to try to work on Comic Blast Gaming stuff very soon. It's just with the end of this whole, COVID-19 stuff is starting to lighten up a little bit now. And also, with my job and also the end of school, it's been a little chaotic. But now that we have the whole summer ahead of us, we should be able to start working on that very, very soon.
It's going to get real.
There has been a lot of stuff to deal with, but rest assured, it is coming.
Yeah, we kind of pitched the idea of also possibly doing like little mini podcast episodes while we're playing games, because Cole and I we goof around and we have a lot of fun, but at the same time we often have like pretty good discussions on like gaming and comic books and honestly everything that's in the vein of Comic Blast. And so we thought about, if we somehow happen to have this really good discussion, maybe piecing that together and putting like a small 30-minute episode of us just playing Battlefront or, whatever game we may be playing at the time and talking about or uploading our thoughts on that. I think the other day we talked a lot about some of the games that have grown in popularity but also have lost traction with us. And that was a really good discussion, and I would love to talk about that again. So hopefully if we get that down, we can upload that, and I think it would be a really good discussion, and you guys would be very intrigued.
Yeah, for sure.
And then last two things is our other patrons. We have Sam and Joseph, who have also been very faithful in supporting us. And if you would like to join them in helping support Comic Blast, like I said, patreon.com/comicblast, and we would appreciate any amount you could give us. There's tiers of patron levels on there, and with certain rewards, and feel free to check that out at your leisure. So this is going to be another heavily Star Wars influenced episode, because last week, if you didn't check our episode out last week, it was a great episode. Our first episode with Cole, and it was our top 5/top 10 officially ranked Star Wars characters by us three. It was a rigorous challenge, but we managed to do it. But it's very entertaining. I listened to it again myself because I was that invested in it. And I loved some of the arguments that we made for some of the characters. So you guys should definitely go check that out if you haven't already. It is probably one of our best episodes, if not our best.
I still get I still kind of get not emotional, but this sense of feeling defensive every time when I think about that episode, because that I don't know, that definitely was the most entertaining episode that we've done. If you guys don't want, the podcast is about an hour and a half long, I think. If you guys don't want to hear the entire episode for whatever reason, I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to, but if you don't, we have uploaded a clip of probably the best debate in the whole episode on YouTube, so you can check out that clip. And there's also just different clips of the podcast on YouTube. So it's actually really cool that I think there are some people actually that are supporting us on YouTube that I see in the comments, not the bots, but the actual people that I see in the comments that I don't think actually listen to the podcast. So if you are on YouTube, you can click a link in the description. It'll take you to the podcast. You can follow it and listen to the full episode there. So
so go check that out. But like I said, this episode is a lot more Star Wars. We have to catch up on some of the news that has been circulating and been releasing over the past 2 weeks. A little bit before Star Wars Day and to even today, there's been a lot of announcements and things like that. So let's get into those. So this is kind of a big comprehensive thing for The Mandalorian Season 2. There's been a lot of castings or exclusives for specific characters and their appearances in The Mandalorian Season 2. So let's talk about I would say the biggest one, and that is Tamara Morrison returning to play presumably Boba Fett. However, some are thinking maybe Captain Rex, but he is supposed to appear. I think the last time he was, with his face appearing was in Revenge of the Sith as Commander Cody. And it was in one brief scene with his helmet off. He has not appeared in any live-action material since then. He's lended his voice to plenty of projects. He's Boba Fett in Battlefront 2 and even has done some clone voices and stuff before D. Bradley Baker became kind of known for doing the clone voices. I'm going to go ahead and say the second one as well, and then we kind of just get into a whole discussion. So the second piece of news, which just came out today, is that Katee Sackhoff, she's famous from the Battlestar Galactica, the more modern version of that show. She is reprising her role as Bo-Katan Kryze from the Clone Wars, which if you just watched Season 7, you'll know her. She is the sister of Duchess Satine, and she has kind of like the red bob cut. I really love her as a character, and she is also supposed to appear in The Mandalorian Season 2. So what are you guys' thoughts on these characters and celebrities popping up in The Mandalorian Season 2?
Man. First off, I'll go ahead and kind of discuss about Katee Sackhoff as Bo-Katan. I think that it is so cool that the person that voiced her is also going to play as her in live action as well. I just think that fits in so well, and like we don't have to deal with any type of conversion as like, a live action actor playing as a voice that we've heard for such a long time, like what we're going to have to deal with the other people. But, Tamara Morrison, that's not going to be as bad because, we're all pretty much used to him voicing clones, although he hasn't done it terribly in a while.
We're used to him voicing Boba Fett primarily, especially with the special editions and now Battlefront 2.
Yeah, Battlefront 2. What I was thinking is that, like, a lot of people are saying that he's going to come back as Boba Fett, and then some people are saying that he comes back as Rex. What if he comes back as both? That would be very, very strange, right?
Yeah.
But it could also be really cool. What I'm thinking is that, and what a lot of other people are saying is, like, after that ending of one of the episodes in The Mandalorian where you see, like, this person, like, this figure come up and, like, grab one of the trackers and whatnot, everyone was thinking that was Boba Fett, and it wasn't actually revealed on who that was. At least I don't believe it was. So people were thinking that he's going to come back as Boba Fett. But at the same time, if Ahsoka is coming into Season 2 of The Mandalorian, potentially, then I don't see why we, at least at this point in time, we wouldn't have Ahsoka and Rex be in the same place. Because you know how, like, Dave Filoni is fairly involved in The Mandalorian, and we know that guy, and we know that he loves seeing Ahsoka and Rex together in the same place.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rex fights with the rebellion in episode 6. We now know this. So what does he do afterwards? Well, my base assumption is that he would just kind of chill out with Ahsoka, and I don't see how she would find anything wrong with that. So there is a part of me that's thinking that maybe we could see him playing as both. I don't know for sure, but maybe.
Yeah. So I partially agree with you, and I partially disagree with you, and I guess I'll go with both sides. So the reason well, first of all, I definitely think he's going to be playing Boba Fett, because the first thing is, I believe it's The Hollywood Reporter is the one that got the scoop for it. They said he was playing Boba Fett in a very minor role in Season 2. However, there is a lot of rumors saying that he will be in a much bigger role in Season 3 as Boba Fett. Which makes sense, because my theory was, all right, they're setting up in Season 1 that Boba Fett's going to come back. They go to Tatooine. It's very deliberate, right? It's the same sound effect. Keenan pointed this out way back when it happened. It's the same sound effect of the spurs when he's walking in The Empire Strikes Back, like the exact same
Oh, it
sound
is,
effect.
Isn't it?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a really good spot, Keenan.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it was. Yeah, he saw it on Twitter, and then he made it known to me.
That's a really good spot on Twitter, Keenan.
I have to find it, because I don't think I ever actually watched. No, I did watch it. So that was like, okay, clearly that's them saying it's Boba Fett.
Yeah.
However, I think in Season 2 he's going to be like a minor antagonist. Think of something kind of like the CW shows with like The Flash, where there's like a minor villain, you know, in an episode that later on becomes a huge seasonal villain.
Yeah,
you know?
I was when you said that, it made me think about actually, have you seen Season 4 of Legend of Korra?
No, I still haven't seen the last 2 seasons.
Okay. So
yeah.
So, like, in non-spoilery terms, there is a very, very minor character in season 3 that, like, is maybe in one scene, and then they are the main villain for season 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, that's a great analogy to that. So I would imagine he would pop up in maybe an episode, maybe like spar a little bit with the Mandalorian, or just like, maybe they show that Boba Fett is tracking him or something.
Yeah.
And then, it'd be so cool just to hear Tamara Morrison's voice and see his face. And he's been getting back into a lot of acting stuff anyway lately, because you pointed out he was Moana's dad in Moana.
Yeah,
which I completely forgot.
He was the dad in Moana.
Yeah, dude, it is a good movie.
Chief
he was Aqua. Man, wait? He's all these people's dads. He's Aquaman's dad too.
He's Boba Fett's dad. He's all the clones' dads, technically.
I'm Tamara Morrison, and I'm your dad.
I am Tamara Morrison, and I'm the biggest dad in the universe. Just this massive Tamara Morrison.
But yeah, so I imagine in season 2 he'll make a small role, just kind of like that Korra analogy, and then season 3 he'll be the big bad, I think, or at least like primarily, because I imagine Moff Gideon's going to be the big villain in season 2, which makes sense why Bo-Katan would come back, because from what we saw in Rebels, she was the last person with the Darksaber.
Yeah.
So, and if Moff Gideon has the Darksaber,
there's a story there.
There's some conflict of interest. Yeah, exactly.
This Darksaber cannot stay in one place for long, like at all.
Nope.
No, but like what I was thinking was what you said earlier. What if like the end of season 2, like you can see the Mandalorian like kind of flying away, and it's in the Razor Crest, right? Yeah, you see him flying away in there, and then suddenly the Slave One like pops off of an asteroid and starts tracking him.
Oh,
that could be really cool, like for heralding into season 3. A great callback.
What if it played the theme too? It's like bum ba-da-da-da-da-dum bum bum.
That is one of my favorite themes in Star Wars for some reason. Like that theme is so underrated.
I've mentioned this composer many times before. And I've sent some stuff to Keenan. I've sent some stuff to Cole. Cole's the one who pointed out to me way back when, and now I listen to like everything he puts out. But Samuel Kim did a remix of, basically he made a Boba Fett Mandalorian theme where he incorporates his theme from Empire Strikes Back. He incorporates the Mandalorian theme and a couple of other things to make it kind of like a darker Mandalorian theme. I just think Boba Fett is going to be a really cool yang to the Mando's yin. I think they're both like very different Mandalorians. If Boba Fett is really a true-blooded Mandalorian at all, there's much to believe that he's like I've got Mandalorian armor on, but like screw the Mandos. Like I don't care about them.
I mean,
but there's no difference between him and the actual Mandalorian of this show.
Yeah. Even Din
would be blood technically.
Yeah, Din himself is a foundling.
Yeah.
Right.
What if
that's a cool concept though?
Oh yeah. What if we see Bulba just kind of dragging around this dark Baby Yoda? the absolute symbolism. Then we have a Baby Yoda fight. Oh man, that'd be sick. Throw your Baby Yodas into the ring.
What do you think about like the idea of there being so many of these minor characters? I assume like we all kind of like. We probably all think that these are going to be like, one episode appearances for most of these characters.
Right.
Ahsoka, I would not doubt that Ahsoka ends up like showing up at the tail end of the season or something like that. But like one of my really only complaints with the Mandalorian season 1 was the episode length and how it seemed like some of them were a little bit like, they were good stories, like episode 2. This cool story with like the Mudhorn and everything like that. But it was a short episode. And I remember like me and Grayson, I don't know, I think Grayson may have felt this way too, I don't remember, but I remember kind of feeling anxious as the season was going on. Like we're kind of like getting near the end of this, and I feel like there wasn't a lot of like substance to the characters, and it all I kind of was proven wrong near the end of the season. Like kind of came together pretty nicely, but I feel like with this second season coming in, maybe it's different because it's the first season was such a hit, but maybe with this season, hopefully we can get like hour-long episodes maybe
Yeah,
10
or
episodes.
more episodes.
either hour-long episodes or a larger episode list.
Yeah.
Ideally, I think it would be best to probably lean one way or the other, but I think at least 10 episodes would be good. I think that would give them more time because they clearly like those side stories, and personally, I don't mind them because they're still really well done.
They are.
Because it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, the one where they go to the, I think it's episode 6. They go to the prison heist, or like
that was a
the New
great
Republic
episode.
prison. I'm like, and it has nothing to do with the story. Like,
No.
Like nothing happens at all. You could probably skip that episode, but it was so entertaining. And so like I don't mind that at all. And so if they wanted to, maybe bump it up to 10 or 12 and let those, directors like Peyton Reed or whatever, which was confirmed, to be a director, to let them kind of have like an episode where it's like, well, I can have fun with this character, and it not really like it doesn't have to necessarily progress the plot forward. Maybe just give you a little bit more seeds about the Mandalorian's character or even some of the side characters. But also, yeah, longer episodes, I would say, average 45 minutes, kind of like a CW TV show, or, I mean, even most television shows that are like, for this demographic are usually around 42 to 45.
This past the first season, I remember there being a few episodes that were like under 30 minutes long.
There was one that was 28.
I was like,
why?
Like,
yeah, exactly. I think the longest one was like 41 minutes or 42 minutes. And I was like, what is up with this, like, just total fluctuation? Like, they should keep it within the same mark, I feel like.
At least make it consistent.
But what you were saying is, I think, we were talking about this a little bit before, and I feel like Cole agrees. I'll let him say his piece on it. But, like, yeah, it's starting to feel like we said, the Mandalorian and the Funky Bunch, where it's like everybody is getting in on this Mandalorian thing. I mean, we're not even just talking about, the characters we're mentioning, like Boba Fett and Ahsoka and Bo-Katan. There's like, Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Biehn and the stormtrooper or sharpshooter guy or whatever from that one episode. He's coming back.
Bill
and
Burr.
Then obviously we have the other characters too. Yeah, Bill Burr, right. And we have all these other characters that are, and I'm like,
Carl Weathers
this is gonna
probably
be
coming
packed.
back, and
Exactly.
Carrie Ann shouldn't be
Gina
there.
Carano.
We didn't even mention that Sabine is supposed to be in there
There's a
as
rumor.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's like,
But see, that would make sense if Ahsoka's going to be there, and if presumably maybe they're still searching for, spoilers for Rebels, maybe searching for Ezra and Thrawn. It would make sense. And also, it would make sense that Rex would be there too. I would love to see all three of them going out to,
I think
find them.
I think
It's slowly becoming like this is slowly becoming like a sequel to Rebels and Clone Wars, but in live action.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I don't mind.
it's cool and I love it. But like I'm so on it. I feel both ways. I really like that we will potentially be able to see like another continuation of these characters' stories and whatnot. But
Yeah.
the main charm of The Mandalorian was that it was a Mandalorian-focused show. Like everyone,
Right.
a lot of people, like a lot of Star Wars YouTubers and like Star Wars creators and whatnot, like the people that I
Hello
have
Greedo
watched. Hello
is
Greedo.
the one that I'm thinking.
Like these people really enjoyed that. It didn't feel like it was a part of like the grand story of the Star Wars universe, And with all these
Right.
people coming in, it's going to feel like that focused story of this bounty hunter that meets this, meets the child that he wants to take care of. Like it's going to be a part of a much bigger thing. And while that's cool, I just really enjoyed the charm of just how focused it used to be. And I really hope that we don't like let's say like the Rebels sequel series, if that's I mean that's definitely coming, right? They're still like guest starring, the Mandalorian because he followed them going where else, you know what I mean? It's just I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
Basically, I wanted these characters to. I don't want them to be primary focuses. Boba Fett and Bo-Katan, totally fine.
Yeah.
I would. They make sense. They fit into that story because they're both Mandalorians. Sabine popping up would make sense, and maybe Ahsoka is there with her. However, I don't want Ahsoka or Sabine to be like stealing the show
As
from
sad
the
as it
Mandalorian.
is,
Like
as sad as it is, I don't mean to cut you off, but it seems
No,
like
go ahead.
Ahsoka is probably like you kind of get the vibe that that's probably the most forced in character into this story. It depends on how they decide to integrate her character, but right now it's like she probably seems like the oddball, and like you're kind of like, how does she exactly fit into this?
Yeah, I told Cole earlier this week, I was like, honestly, it makes more sense for Luke Skywalker to be in The Mandalorian rather
Could
than,
you imagine?
than Ahsoka.
I don't know how they would do that.
Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker, please just make
You could
it
use him
freaking
as like a
happen.
deep fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, even then, like, I have photoshops and stuff. I'm like, with the timeline, just make Sebastian Stan like an older, kind of beefier Luke Skywalker. You know, Luke Skywalker was hitting the gym a little bit. You know, he's a bit more grizzled.
I do want to say though,
and
I don't want that to happen, but
Yeah.
No,
it just would be mind blowing if it did.
Yeah, I mean, but see, like the only reason is it would make more sense because of like, oh, Luke would be intrigued about, you know, another, like a Baby Yoda, right?
Well, he's like, hey, this guy came in and wrecked our New Republic prison facility.
Yeah.
So like he came in to
Ooh.
investigate that. He's like, what is that Yoda? He walks up to him,
Yeah.
hey man, and then like you see him go back, and then Yoda's like, not me, that is. And, like, it's like,
Dude, that'd be like a really cool tease though if they were like Leia called in a favor, was just like, yeah, someone just like blew up this entire prison, and she just calls up Luke and it's like,
no, it's like
you need to go look this up.
it's like
Yeah.
we received a transmission that like this
From
this
Faithful.
interception fighter is like coming this way, and he's like, what's the tag name? Red 5. And then like it just like cuts to black.
Oh man.
That would be so
See, that's the
cheesy,
thing
but
is,
I
I'm
don't know
like,
why.
it would be cheesy, but I would love it.
Yeah.
Like
It
Star
sounds like
Wars-
Star Wars.
Star Wars has cheesy stuff, man, and
Yeah.
we love it. You know.
Listen, we're a sucker for fan service every time. So probably what's gonna happen is Ahsoka and all these people are gonna be in there and be like, "That was awesome," and like,
I just
like,
no matter how much like this ragtag team of people come in, and then like the Mandalorian's just standing there while everyone's fighting with lightsabers and force explosions, stuff like that. You know,
just like-
all of that stuff can happen as long as at the end of the episode I see the Mandalorian walking away or flying away like in the Razor Crest with the child on his own. I want him to
Yeah.
go back on his own with the child. I don't want him to go like, all right, are we some kind of Suicide Squad like with everybody?
it's just like we have like a Avengers Endgame moment where it's just like
Oh,
some
no.
like Dark Jedi or like Moff Gideon, and it's like Ahsoka, Rex, Sabine, Bo-Katan, Carl Weathers, Gina Carano, like just the actors.
Guest starring
And
Max
it's like-
Rebo.
It's like Droopy McCool. It's just like you're like, I just came here for the Mandalorian, and then Boba Fett. Like it's
Like,
just whatever. But
Mandalorian season 2 episode 3 breakdown. You can see Dexter Jester in the background if you zoom in. It's stuff like that. That's what it's sounding like to me.
yeah.
So let
Another
us
thing
hope
is I
that it
hope-
will be controlled.
Random question for you guys, and I'm sure this is kind of hard to say because we don't know where season 2 is going to go. How many seasons would you guys want the Mandalorian to be? Like
4 or
max?
5.
I'm thinking maximum probably 4. And at that point I feel like I'm being generous. Because
Right. Okay.
because and it's not like I don't want the show to go on, but we all know that there is a certain point in time when something is good and you need to stop it from not being good.
Yeah.
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 Protect it from itself.
Yeah.
So here's my agreeance and counterpoint. I feel like I'm doing this a lot where I'm like agreeing and
It's
disagreeing. at
okay.
the
You
same
got to
time.
present both sides
Yeah.
of the argument.
It's
Let
true,
the viewer,
you know, and
listeners
that's why
decide.
that's why we're such a great reliable source as we give all perspectives.
Comic Blast.
So yeah, I would at the least I hope it is 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And that's because, like I said, I don't want it to go on too long and be run to the ground. My generous side says at the max 7 seasons. And the reason I say that many seasons is because of the limited episodes that we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, however, if seasons 2 and 3 and 4 or 5, you know, if they have a higher episode count or the episodes are longer, then I'm fine with it being like, you know, a good 5 seasons would be fine with me.
Yeah.
But if it's like this thing where it's like, all right, every season's only 8 episodes with like 30 to maybe 40-minute episodes, then I'm at the point where I'm like, I would like to have, you know, at least 6 seasons because we're getting all of this, these kind of side stories and whatnot.
My counterpoint to that, to the
say.
7 seasons, would be just that.
Even 7 sounds too much.
Yeah, I don't like the idea. Like, I love that Jon Favreau is over this, but I don't like the idea of one person being over something for that long, and I can't imagine anyone else kind of taking over this whole thing, like being the producer writer. So I don't know. Like, I just feel like 4 to 5 just feels right. And on top of that, we're adding so many other series. We're going to get into, like, there's another series that's potentially coming. So I don't know. There's just we say this a lot, but there's so many stories to tell in Star Wars that haven't been told yet. Let's get on to a different time period, maybe.
Exactly. Star Wars is so expansive that, they need to realize that they should delve into other places, like the High Republic, which is a major project that Lucasfilm is working on right now. Like the story group and whatnot, like that is up and coming. Like, I would love to see a series on that.
Which they've said, we're not doing any like story, like visual stories.
That was bizarre. They really hyped that up, and I thought they were gonna like say, and also here's this movie trilogy that's coming with it.
Yeah, I mean, but like they're basically establishing a new Star Wars era, and eventually somewhere along the line they're gonna do something like that. Like,
right?
Look, knowing Disney, they're not gonna do that. You know what I mean? So basically, the gist of our initial point is not to rag on anybody that likes The Walking Dead. I used to love it, but I do not want The Mandalorian to suffer from what I call the Walking Dead syndrome, which is it's really good for a few seasons, and then they're like, this is making us money, we have to keep on doing it. And then it just gets bad.
Breaking Bad is the pinnacle representation of a show that was amazing and ended exactly when it needed to. And it's so rare for that to happen because most shows either they get canceled or they get run into the ground.
And then you got a movie later on, which was cool too.
I still need to watch Breaking Bad.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's a great show. You definitely need to.
So what else we got on the table today?
So next thing is, well, I'll just go ahead and say this isn't a huge thing, but The Mandalorian Season 2 isn't being delayed, so we can still expect it.
Thank God. Something good to come this year.
Yeah, is that what, October?
Yeah, October, November?
I'm going to take a look.
Okay. This is fall, that's all I know.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Probably would have been announced at Celebration.
October 2020. Yep.
Okay. Cool. So it's still on track. Let's see. What do I want to talk about next? We need to go ahead and talk about Clone Wars Season 7. I know it's still pretty fresh on people's minds. I'd say the last episode only came out like about 8 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. I'm losing track of the days during this quarantine, man.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. So what do we think about Clone Wars Season 7? I kind of want Keenan's opinions first.
Sure.
Because
I'm the most critical.
Grayson already knows what I have to say about this.
Yeah, so I'm the most critical of Clone Wars. I did shoot Grayson that text one time saying that I was wrong about certain things that I never responded to, but...
Yeah, I still don't know what happened.
Yeah. So the 7th season in general, I think it had a pretty good start, and in the middle kind of went for a little bit. The last 4 episodes, though, of this season were... I don't know that... I want to say that they're probably like some of my favorites in the whole series. But I really want to speak to I really want to talk about Dave Filoni because I know I said this last time. I'm not an emotional person, but I felt happy for Dave Filoni after watching this series. And, because, if you watched I think it's Disney Gallery or something like that on Disney Plus.
I haven't watched it yet, but I have this on the show notes. His
The man, when you listen to him talk about Star Wars, he grabs everyone's attention in the room. So they had a round table in that. I won't spoil what he says, but they have a round table with all the directors of the episodes and stuff. And you can tell everybody's happy to be there. And everyone wants to kind of get their 2 cents. And for the most part, there's a lot of instances, especially with Jon Favreau, in the episodes that they put out, that the directors kind of just talk over each other a lot. And then when Dave Filoni starts to speak, everyone shuts up, and like
Yeah.
everyone that's sitting at that table is in near tears because of how he like paints the picture of Star Wars. Like when he explained
Yeah.
like the Duel of the Fates, I'll admit he
Yes.
explained it in a way that I never looked at it before. Like I understood it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand like the gravity of that fight, which we'll get into
Yeah.
later. However, but I mean, after seeing that and then seeing Clone Wars, I just was so happy for him, and the fact that he was able to finish it and did it in such a beautiful way. I think.
Yeah, man.
So overall, I thought the seventh season, like with Clone Wars, there's some episodes that I can definitely skip over, but it had such a strong finish, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Utmost respect for
so
Dave Filoni.
Absolutely. Dave Filoni is the best thing to happen to Star Wars since George Lucas.
I consider him
Yeah.
like the apprentice, to George Lucas.
yeah.
And now he's
But
the
he
master.
is now the master.
Yeah, he's now
Yeah,
the master. Oh
Precisely.
man.
Yeah. So here, let me give you the rundown on my thoughts on season 7 before I get to because I want to get to the final arc. So, and Cole, I know he agrees with me on all this because we've talked about it before.
Let me know if you want me to chime in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, feel free. First arc, it's a really solid arc. I had a ton of fun with that arc. It's one of my favorites just because I love the concept of the Bad Batch, and it's just one of those really entertaining arcs in Clone Wars. It doesn't, it's not this massive story or anything like that, but it's just like, clones and Jedi, and it's honestly one of the prime arcs of like what Clone Wars is about.
Yeah.
It's just like, just those fun battles. Middle arc was the most disappointing thing I have ever witnessed. I was so mad with the middle arc. Like, okay, so the first episode I was like, that was a little weird. That was a little different, but I'm sure it'll get better in the next 3 episodes. And the second episode happens, and I'm like, wow, I really do not like these Martez sisters. Please make them better. Then I get to the third episode where they start off in jail, and then the entire episode happens, and they get put back in jail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did I just waste 30 minutes of my time
The only
watching
memorable
this?
or like reasonable part of that episode is when you see Bo-Katan and she's like, oh, there's Ahsoka. And like that
Yeah.
that leads
And
up
you
to
get
her
see
going
Maul
to get
and
her
the
later.
hologram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much
and-
that
yeah.
entire arc was a set. I will say it has the good message of like, oh, not everybody likes the Jedi. However, it was so drawn out to set up the Siege of Mandalore that I'm like, this easily could have been 2 episodes. And they could have filled in the other 2 episodes with maybe, some other just, last minute things. Maybe we get an episode with Padme. Maybe we get an episode with
Boba Fett and
3PO
Cad Bane.
and R2. That General Grievous.
Oh
You know?
man.
Yeah.
I miss him.
But guess what? We didn't get that.
Yeah, he freaking
but
blew
then-
up off screen.
But then the last arc was, I mean, it's a movie. It is a Star Wars movie.
It
Oh,
is.
And
it was perfect.
It was so well done. And I'll admit, when the last episode ended, I felt empty and wanting.
Yeah.
I actually felt unsatisfied because I was like, man, I wanted more. And I think one of the reasons I felt unsatisfied was because it was so abrupt, but also just because of that middle arc was like, I didn't feel like I got my full season. I feel like I got like 2 arcs and that was it. But really, the Siege of Mandalore is the story they wanted to tell to finish Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And however, now that I have thought about it, I have processed it, and I have rewatched the ending, the last 10 minutes of the very last episode a couple of times. I am so emotionally like attached and just grateful that we were able to get this last season. And like I said, I'm just so thankful, happy for Dave Filoni that he got to finish it. And just the chills that I had when, spoilers for Clone Wars Season 7, if you haven't seen it already. Here's your time to click off or to pause or
quick
skip
moment of
ahead,
silence.
whatever. Yeah. When Vader shows up and I remember I talked to Cole like 3 or 4 episodes ago, like before, I was like, dude, what if we get like Vader in Clone Wars?
Oh man, yeah.
And it happened, and I was like, and then I saw it and I was like, oh man, this is sweet. And then just seeing those, the graves of the clones and seeing that helmet and
Seeing
him holding
Jesse's
that
helmet.
lightsaber and igniting it. Yeah, it's so symbolic, right?
Yeah, it's got the
like
the symbol of the Republic on it to symbolize the
Republic
death of the
cog.
Republic.
Right. Yeah, and the more I appreciated it was because I was like, the fall of the Republic was abrupt. It was like all of this was happening, and then bam,
Yeah,
it all
you see it
changed.
coming.
Like, you know, there's that quote from the original Battlefront 2 is just like, what I remember about the rise of the Empire was how quiet it was,
Yeah.
and it was just like, I was like, oh, that's really, really good.
Thanks to Tamara Morrison for voicing that, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
See you in season 2, baby.
and so that episode was so somber, and God, can we just appreciate Kevin Kiner's soundtrack?
Oh,
like
my
his score
God.
Yeah.
for that.
The last 2 episodes, it sounded like the Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack.
Sound like an
was like
A24
Blade Runner-
movie.
Yeah, it
Dude.
was so daunting, and the way, like, you hear Dave Filoni talking about this, like, the way how he had none of the clones have their helmets off except for Rex, and how they barely talked at all. He was trying to symbolize like that convergence or like conversion into the Empire of just these faceless, not speaking soldiers.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
can feel it. You can feel that something's wrong. As soon as Ahsoka gets off of that ship into the Republic cruiser on episode 3 of that arc, you look at all that. Like, I remember looking at all those clones, and I'm like, this is not good. Because when I was a kid, I used to see all the clones everywhere in the Clone Wars, and I was like, yeah, I love the clones. They're great guys. But, like,
Yeah.
at this point, I know what's about to happen, and I'm like, oh my God, she is in trouble. I do not feel good about
Yeah.
this right now.
Dude, I kept on telling it to Cole. I was like, yeah, the soundtrack, it was just so oppressing. Like it just felt like a weight was like, you know, like you knew something was about to happen, and it's just like it was just kind of crushing you down.
Yeah.
Oppressing is the
And
best
it
word.
just,
Best adjective.
yeah, like, yeah, it's just like, it's like, I was just like, oh man, like I just feel tense, you know, like I feel like I just have all this stress because I know what's about to happen. And then like when all the clones die, like it felt like you know, the ending score, I think it's Victory and Death is the name of it. And it's so somber, like, and quiet, like I said. And then you just see Vader come up, and it's like, man, like, this is it. Like, it just happened just like that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
obviously, we know it. We know the story continues in Rebels. But part of me wishes, I was like, man, imagine if Clone Wars ended the way it was supposed to, and then we would have properly got like that story continued. Like, what? Imagine if we had watched Clone Wars and it just ended like that, and we were like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
I did hear someone say that they wished, and they knew that season 7 had to come out at the time that it did because of the cancellation and whatnot. But if it had come out before Rebels and we didn't know what happened to Ahsoka, like we would have all been like losing our minds. Like, what happens next? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
As for
That's kind of how I feel with Rebels currently, and like what direction it's gonna go,
Yeah.
continuing off of Rebels. And that's like, we don't know what happens next. But anyway, continue.
As for what you said earlier about how the like that last episode made you feeling like you wanted something else, I felt the same way, and I still do. But there's a different way that I think about it. The end of the Clone Wars, that is the like the last episode, you see it, and that is the end of the Clone Wars. That is what happens. That's the end of this era that we're going to talk about. But the way that the episode ends made me feel like they were saying, and you know, obviously, like, we don't know if this is true or not, but it made me feel like they were saying, yes, this is the end of the Clone Wars, but it's not the end of what happens next.
I agree,
You know,
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Now,
what I
here's
hope
the
their
thing.
next
Here's
project is, because they made all those Empire assets, and please use them, you know?
Yeah. Dude, when I saw that in like the Clone I jokingly texted Cole. I was like, so what you're telling me is Rebels could have looked like Clone Wars the entire time. Because like,
I am, and I'm tired of pretending
I love
it's not.
I love Rebels, but man, like, you compare it to how good Clone Wars looks now, and it's like, man, I would have taken that.
Yeah, it made me want more
Like-
animated stuff. like that.
I would have taken
Yeah.
how Clone Wars looks in season 4 over Rebels, but that's just me. I just love the way that Clone Wars looks. The art direction in that show is just amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's our
It's
thoughts on
over.
Clone Wars season 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because I'm like, you said you were going to make a meme, and I hope you still do this, Cole. You should do this right after. I was just like, I have nothing left except the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's like,
I do need to make that. Basically, like the entire overview of the season. I told Grayson this about a week ago. The last season just perfectly encapsulated what the Clone Wars was, which is the first arc is, oh dude, this arc is so cool. Like that arc was great. I loved it. And then there's the skippable arc in the middle. Not even gonna talk about it. Like might as well have been a Jar Jar arc. And then the last one is
those are good.
the last one is, oh my god, that was amazing. This is my favorite.
Yeah.
You kind of feel that
yeah.
way at the end of every season in that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always
Kind
the
of
good
like
one,
honestly
the
like the
skippable one, and the great one.
Mandalorian too. I felt that way with the Mandalorian. The way it ended, I was like, oh my god, I'm ready for season 2. And then
How
like
do you feel about the sequel trilogy?
yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
You gotta talk about that.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about that right now. Before we started
maybe that's-
recording, Keenan and I had this very brief discussion, and I just put my head into my hand and I just whispered like, "What happened to Star Wars?"
It was so funny.
Don't get me wrong, I
It's a
love Star
joke.
Wars, but yeah.
Yeah. Because like this also came out, so like the sequel trilogy ended. Like the Skywalker saga is done. Battlefront 2 done. Clone Wars done. It's just like help.
Yeah, it's,
Dave, please help us.
Starved. Please help, Dave. But yeah, Clone Wars season 7 was still definitely a worthy addition, and I'm glad it was closed off. I didn't know how to segue that, honestly. Let's talk about these last two pieces of news, and maybe we can talk about that Dave Filoni thing a little bit, although we're getting kind of close to the end of this episode. So another kind of casting news thing, which has been speculated before, but it's it's not confirmed, but Hayden Christensen is supposed to reprise his role as our good boy Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, I love it.
Number one.
Oh, I
The
love
best-
in the
it.
the
Kenobi
best
show.
character in Star Wars is
Yeah.
coming back.
Not Baby Yoda.
You mean Hayden Christensen, like the best, is returning? Yeah.
My son, even though he's way older than me, he's
So-
like twice my age.
Yeah, Grace and I have said this like several times, but like we just imagine meeting our favorite Star Wars actors. We're just gonna say like my son, like even though they're vastly much older than we are. But yeah, as I've thought about this a lot ever since the announcement of like the Kenobi movie / show / whatever it's gonna be at this point. It's it's gonna be a show, but I feel like it's gonna be very psychological based. And so the way that I can see Hayden coming back is
Kenobi,
in
Arkham Asylum.
in a vision, or like Obi-Wan is like having dreams, like obviously I don't believe that Hayden's going to be a massive, like he's going to be a key character in the show because Obi-Wan is losing his mind in the desert. Like he's just walking around with Anakin the whole time, but it would be really cool to see him come back. And I'm just going to believe it. So I don't hold my
you
hopes up.
wouldn't want. So you're saying though you wouldn't want it to be like Batman Arkham Knight, where it's like Anakin's just with him the entire time, like Joker was with Batman. Like I kind of like that idea, but at the same time I feel it.
But I kind of like don't. It's like,
Did you
what?
did you hear this whole rumor that like, so I didn't know, so we obviously knew that the script had to be like completely changed. Did you know that the original script was rumored to be about a bounty hunter like trying to track Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan wasn't going to show up till the very last episode?
Oh
Ooh,
my
I did not hear about
God.
that.
Thank God they
I-
canceled
So, okay.
that then.
Yeah, I would not like that at all.
But here's both sides of this.
Nope.
Again. Okay, no, but like I agree with you. Like that would have been so stupid if you're calling it the Kenobi show. However, I still would like to see that in some capacity, mainly because remember Wolverine the Long Night?
Great.
Mm.
I didn't.
Remember that?
I didn't
That-
listen to the second season, but it was cool.
I didn't either. Well, the second season was called like the Lost Trail or something. But remember how like Wolverine wasn't the main character of that show? Like it was about like a different character finding Wolverine.
Yeah.
I would love like now I would love that the Kenobi show needs to be about Kenobi. Why would you call it that?
I mean, like, if
like,
they
hey,
bring...
we got Ewan McGregor back, one episode.
Yeah, like, if like, Kathleen Kennedy, like, brings him back on stage, and she's like, are you going to reprise your role as Obi-Wan Kenobi? And he turns, and he's like, yes! And, like, everyone just gets so excited, and then, like, the show comes out, and it's some freaking...
We get 5 episodes in.
Yeah.
This freaking Dirge, or...
You want to do...
Trandoshan-looking guy.
Dirge?
If you want to do something like that, do
Dirge!
it in, like, a comic, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
on
in
your
my
own
time
time.
show.
I would love a book about that. That'd be really cool. It was supposed to be some like I think it may have been that bounty hunter from the Lando comic actually.
I want to know.
Remember that girl?
I want to know how credible
She's cool.
this rumor is, because
I don't know. Either way, that's like they scrapped that and they said they wanted it to be fully about Kenobi.
I don't even know how like you greenlight something like that to begin with. Like who comes to you? It's like I have
Kenobi
a script
show?
idea to bring Obi-Wan Kenobi back, or have a series about him. It just
the whole reason why they're bringing him back is because
that would have been It would have been fine if it wasn't promoted as a Kenobi show.
Yeah.
It would have been fine if it was promoted as like, hey, here's a bounty hunter show, and the first season like it ends and they find Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you're like, oh my god, like that would have been insane.
The whole
but if you're
reason...
calling it the Kenobi show, like
exactly. Like the whole reason they're bringing him back is because no one, including me, will not shut up about like bring him back, please. He is at prime time age to be playing as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the desert. And they're like, some guy comes in, he's like, hey, so why don't we do that? I have a great idea. Let's do a show about him that has nothing to do with him. Like, I mean, like, he's not in it. I mean, we're finding him, but he's only going to be, like, in the last minute. It'd be great. We don't even need to cast him for that long. Like, that would make me so mad. If they
it'd be such a cop-out.
It's not coming out like that.
Thank God they're fixing that. If that's the truth, I'm so happy
maybe
they
it wasn't the
scrapped
truth. I don't know. But, yeah, either way, it will be focused, actually, on Kenobi, thank God.
It's 4 episodes now, though.
It's okay. Like, Obi-Wan is my favorite character, and so I will play the diplomat and say, as long as I am getting more Kenobi, I am okay with it. 4 episodes.
Those 4 episodes better be 45 minutes.
Or an hour.
They better be an hour long.
Yeah.
They better not be less than 40 minutes, I swear.
I want a 4-hour movie.
If
it's 4 30-minute episodes, I'm upset.
News just in, these 4 episodes are only going to be 5 minutes long each.
It's going to be on Quibi.
Yeah, every single one of them is going to be a clip of Obi-Wan just like sitting in his house and he's just doing stuff. And then like at the end, the end card is like, burr, 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 like it's Kenobi. Like this is what he did the whole time. He just sat there, pulls out a pair of binoculars and like looks at Luke and is like, all right, he's fine.
It's got like a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's like the very final episode. He's reading a book, like, and then you just hear out and like you just hear just screaming Darth Maul, Kenobi! And it just like ends.
Obi-Wan looks up. He's like, oh damn, he's outside. I'll be right back.
And then it ends. And it's like continued the story in Star Wars Rebels.
Watch this episode of Star Wars Rebels.
That would be like the ultimate April Fool's prank. Anyway, Hayden Christensen, I'm cool with this, but I saw someone also mention that it was going to be in between episodes 2 and 3. And I was like, it's like, oh, that's why they're getting Hayden back. And I was like, no. They were just way too old. Like,
can I be because I think you guys have said your piece on Hayden Christensen. I don't really care to see him in this series. Hot take. I don't really care to see him.
Bruh.
Although I love Hayden Christensen.
I can get why.
I don't see his place in this story other than maybe flashbacks, but then you end up having to digitally do his face. Just I don't know.
Well, see, Hayden Christensen hasn't aged that much. Honestly,
you know what I would like?
Haven't aged that
his
much.
His voice has changed.
You know what I would like though? I think would be cool if there is some sort of flashback. Like I love Cole's idea of this being like a very psychological series where it's Obi-Wan kind of dealing with the we're basically getting what we didn't get with Luke, where you're starting to kind of like see what what's going on inside of his mind and how he's dealing with it in isolation. I would love the idea if maybe we see a conversation like it's a flashback or some sort of memory within Obi-Wan's mind, where there is some sort of like emotional conversation between him and Anakin that took place forever ago or something like that, like something we haven't seen in the movie or anything like that. That just kind of adds to their relationship and enhances it a little bit.
Right.
I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, two things that I would love to see in there, like aside from Hayden Christensen, like in a vision or a flashback or something like that. One thing is that I want to see him going under training with Qui-Gon. Because, we all know that Liam Neeson is like totally down for Star Wars stuff. Like he's voiced before, like he voiced in Rise of Skywalker. So
Clone Wars.
I would love to see him kind of talk to Obi-Wan and about like how becoming Force Ghost and whatnot, because like we know that they did talk about it. But one of the biggest things is that something canon that like something that was brought back into canon from the comics is the journals of Ben Kenobi. So like he was journaling in his exile. And one thing that I would really like, some people don't like narration, but I would like it if the story was actually had a lot of narration from Obi-Wan, and like the narration is what he's writing down, like kind of as he's traveling. And it doesn't have to be all the time, but like there could be a shot of him walking like through the sand dunes, and like he talks about how lonely it feels out here, and like how, and like we could say like how he hates the sand. Like I can see why Anakin didn't like it. Or something like in the Master and Apprentice novel, when Obi-Wan was younger, he actually loved flying. And I would love to hear something like him saying, I would love more than anything than to hop in a starfighter and fly out as far as I could go. Something like that. I just feel like that could be really good. I want this to be very character focused. But yeah. I talk too much about it. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's just me.
Reason he was your number one character.
I love him.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all of your points. Yeah, I think Hayden will mostly just be flashbacks and things like that. I don't think he'll be like hallucinations or whatever.
One thing that we can say is that we should be able to appreciate the fact that Disney has really opened up to bringing in prequel stuff lately.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
with like the Rise of Skywalker and like bringing Clone Wars back. Like they're starting to like really kind of target that audience.
They know people love it.
Yeah, I love them for that.
Yeah. I am glad that they are going in this direction.
Last thing we should probably talk about is this Taika Waititi movie that was announced on May the 4th. What are we hoping from Taika Waititi directing a Star Wars movie?
Honestly, I'm hoping that it is something that's kind of similar to Thor Ragnarok. Like I just want this funny space shooter movie, like just a bunch of guys getting together in a group and like going on this grand slamming adventure with a bunch of jokes and stuff like that. I don't want it to have really anything to do with the grand story of the galaxy. I just want it to be a fun Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I think if you see that round table with Taika Waititi, like everyone thinks of comedy with him, but he actually does a really good job with like characters and character arcs. And when you see him talk about his episode of The Mandalorian, he makes jokes. Like if you have to see him in that show. He's funny, but he makes jokes. But at the same time, he really understands like the care and love that should be put into these characters, and he understands like what the characters mean to people. But like you guys, like I would like to see something that is like his own characters and getting to do something kind of fun, even if it's just like a one-off movie or something like that.
Yeah. I don't need a trilogy. I would be totally fine if we just start getting one-off Star Wars movies with.
I would love a
cool
bounty hunter
directors
movie
and stuff.
I would love that. And like as obviously I would prefer new characters over the old ones, but if we had some strange bounty hunter movie about all the guys from Empire Strikes Back, that would be so much fun to watch. I feel like it could really be great. Yeah, that's the vibe.
Make it about like Make it about like Forlom and Zuckuss and Dengar.
Yeah, Dengar could be.
I got toilet paper on my head.
You're gonna take a dirt nap, and then like someone turns around, they're like, "What does that even mean?" And he's like, "I'm gonna put you in the ground," you know.
Oh, that's what that means?
That's what I was thinking. That is my
that makes
theory.
sense. He's gonna take a dirt nap.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, no, like the original consensus was that
Make
he
it
was
about
just gonna
Greedo.
put dirt in a pillow and like, "You're gonna take a dirt nap. I hope you have a good one. I'll set an alarm," you know, something like that.
Yeah,
Something.
I don't know.
along those lines.
I wish we had more info, but hopefully, did they say when it's supposed to come out? I think it's just in
2022,
development.
I think.
Like,
I mean,
that's wild.
all
That's
right.
okay.
Let
Isn't
me
that when
look it up.
Thor: Love and Thunder comes out too? Or is that 21?
Actually, I saw somebody say something like that on Twitter. I think both of them do come out around that time,
Yeah.
which is like
Wow.
mind blowing because like he was supposed to be doing an Akira film, which I was actually really excited for, and then that
Yeah.
got delayed because of Thor, and then now it just seems like he's never going to do this Akira film, which is slightly disappointing.
It'd be interesting. It would be interesting because I've always been intrigued by Akira, but I watched the anime, the movie, and I was like, I don't like
Were you
this.
bored?
This is weird.
There,
I was very bored.
There is no current date for Taika's movie.
Okay.
But the next Star Wars movie, which we don't know what it is slated for release in 2022.
Okay.
We still have a Kevin
I
Feige
wonder-
produced movie coming.
Oh, that
Yeah.
that kind of stuff makes me excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird.
Star Wars MCUified.
It really is.
what-
Star Wars Endgame.
Whether we like it or not, this is what's happening.
Jon Favreau, and we got Peyton Reed directing episodes now.
We got Taika Waititi, and then we got, oh god, man, soon enough, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Han Solo.
That would be ridiculous.
That would be, oh man, they're going to reboot it, and it's going to be Tom Holland as Luke Skywalker.
Ugh.
Yeah. Dude, if Tom Holland gets put in Star Wars, I'm going to just be like, what?
There's certain
Like-
actors I feel like you cannot put in Star Wars.
I just don't, there's just something, I just
There's
don't
something
want
like great
in Star
though
Wars.
about like whenever they cast these leads for the most part, they're not super well known actors. Like they're not A-list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them.
I
Yeah.
want
They
like
become
I don't
that.
want I don't want Star Wars to become something that's like and now starring like this, you know, like Leonardo DiCaprio is like our main character. I don't want it to be like, let's cast an A-list actor in this that
Yeah.
everyone knows about. You know,
Yeah.
there's something about watching a Star Wars movie and knowing that you know all these people because of what they did in Star Wars, not like from
Right.
like elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's one of the things I just love about the sequel trilogy is I loved how much I appreciate that entire cast now
Yeah.
because of, you know, their appearance in Star Wars, like Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac I knew bebeforehand, but even I love him in Star Wars
Yeah.
too, and even Jonas Suetamo, the guy who played Chewbacca,
Yeah.
who, you know, he's taken the mantle from Peter Mayhew, may he rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So I just think that's one of the charming things about Star Wars. Even Alden Ehrenreich playing a young Han Solo, like he was pretty, like
I think he did
wasn't-
well.
I loved him. I loved
Oh,
him,
he's
you know?
great.
And I think Star Wars has this balance of like, let's get this, you know, fresh young blood of playing these new characters while also incorporating some of the, you know, familiar faces. Like using Solo as an example, we had Alden Ehrenreich as Han,
Yeah.
which is pretty unknown. We had someone playing L3 was unknown. Childish Gambino was a really big actor. You know, Quentin Beck. No. Who am I thinking of?
Woody
Woody
Harrelson.
Harrelson playing
Tobias.
Beckett. Tobias Beckett. That was the connection I was making there with Quentin.
Yeah, we
Beck.
bring
I
in
don't know why I said
Amelia
that.
Clark with
Yeah.
Kira.
Yeah, exactly. That was one that was like, okay, it has a mix, you know. And even Rogue One, you had a mix of new actors and actresses, and you know,
Yeah.
and also a whole lot of famous ones. But obviously, all of these big name actors want to get into Star Wars because it's Star Wars. Like they don't.
I mean, I want to
they
get
don't
into
care
Star
how-
Wars.
Who doesn't though? Like, you know. I think just everybody wants to wait for that one role that's be like, that's my character,
Yeah.
you know? Because like, I think that's the one thing. It's like, because I think Sam Witwer said it. He's like, once you're in Star Wars, like that's who you are, you know. Like, and Sam Witwer has had the liberty of, you know, he's voices characters, but his face has not appeared in any canon. So
can
he's
he
like
do a
waiting.
live
He's
action
like,
portrayal as the son? Can he do that?
that would be really cool.
I thought
but I just wanted to play Starkiller.
Oh man,
I just wanted to play Inquisitor Starkiller.
Yeah, that'd be great,
Dude, if he is the villain in Jedi Fallen Order 2, I'm gonna leave it. We're gonna end the episode here. If Sam Witwer comes back as a canonized version of Starkiller, Galen Merrick, all right, and as the main villain of Jedi Fallen Order 2, I will die a happy man.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Someone please.
He doesn't have to be OP in the Force. Like, I want him to be skilled, obviously, but I want him to have all of those weird screams that he has that we I hope we fight Starkiller in Jedi Fallen Order 2 if it happens, and you just hit him and he goes
Well, yeah, honestly, like we have made so many jokes about like the Starkiller screams and whatnot, but imagine you not seeing Starkiller's face, and like he appears as an enemy, as like this, like, you know, this mask.
He has the helmet,
like
though.
like this Inquisitor that is so daunting, and like he seems even more powerful than the second sister, and like you hit him and he just has this like scream of agony, and like he slashes back at you with this fury. Like, that could be a really daunting boss fight. I would love that.
I don't want to talk about boss fights.
But
later
what about
tonight,
Malicos, dude?
Later tonight, I'm going to fight Malicos on Grandmaster.
You know, like you tweeted at me about that, right? Did that happen?
Yeah.
I got so mad about that. So I'm just like,
did you really?
Yes, I did, of course, because like.
Okay, but to preface that, I didn't understand. Okay, so to clarify, if you know the ballad of Taron Malicos and Keenan, you know that Taron Malicos kicked Keenan's ass for 2 days back when that game came out, and when I told him on the podcast, I beat Malicos first try, and you were playing on Knight back then, correct? You were playing on Jedi Knight. I thought we were playing on the same difficulty.
Grandmaster's the hardest difficulty. I was playing.
Okay, so maybe
I was playing Master. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we were playing on the same one. All right.
Yeah, we were.
Cool. That makes things a little bit better. Yeah, you said you fought him for like 2 days.
Oh, longer
and I
than
beat
that.
him my first try.
The first time I played it, I was on. I was on him for longer than 2 days. This most recent time, now that they did the update, I was on him for 2 days.
Yeah.
Trying to Grandmaster.
And that was on Grandmaster.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was like, I'm gonna take it up a notch. But like there were times where I just felt like uninstalling the game back then, because I was just like, this is impossible. Like, I had no problem. Like, from then on, I had no problems with any other bosses. Like, I was able to beat like the second sister pretty easily. But I mean, Malicos, like. And he just annoyed me. Like, he's just such an annoying character. The fact that you see him multiple times on Dathomir before you even fight him, and I'm like, oh, this guy's like kind of cool. And then you end up fighting him, and just like, there's no end to the fight. But anyways, this most recent time I spent 2 days, and dude, I lost my mind. Like, I was going crazy.
Yeah. So you were just training, right?
Yeah, I was just in training, and I was telling Cole, I think before the episode, like, when you're in that training, there's like 3 songs that play the whole time. Like, it rotates between 3 songs, and there's that one song that's from the very beginning of the game that Cal's listening to. It's like, like, and I'm constantly losing, and the song is not ending. It's like going on for 10 minutes, and I'm like constantly dying over and over, and I just kind of like, I got to a
this
point
is my hell.
There were times where I would just set my controller down and leave my PlayStation on and just leave the house, and I'd like go get coffee or something, and then like I walk in and I see it's like training failed, but I'm like, all right, this time, like, this is it. And it's just like continued for 2 days, but
Taron Malicos caused Keenan to go through a self-reflection montage.
Just like, it's just that, like, that point in the movie, like, you know, in any story where the character is just at their worst, you know, and he just has to find the power within himself, you know,
and then like push it to the limit, starts playing.
But the reason I tweeted him the other day was because I didn't realize on the training mode you were playing on Grandmaster. But I went back on there. I was like, I want to see. I didn't look at any of the controls before I did this. By the way, I was like, I don't remember anything. There was points where I was like freezing when I meant to hit with my lightsaber. I was like, RB is an attack. What? Anyway, I went back and I was like, I'm just gonna fight Terra Malicos, and I'm just gonna see what happens. And I beat him again first try on Jedi Master, and I didn't realize that, so I felt bad. But I was kind of laughing.
I wasn't.
I'm gonna try on Grandmaster.
I texted you right away. I didn't even reply to that tweet. I texted you. I'm like, how?
You were like,
how'd you
Hey,
do
what's
it?
up, guys? It's Cole.
I
I got
Jedi.
Fallen Order and started on Grandmaster and beat it the same week.
I don't know how you do that, Cole.
Because Cole is the best of us.
Yeah, I beat Vader at the end. You should have seen his death screen.
That
Just cuts to Return of the Jedi.
didn't even resonate with me until just now. I don't know. I'm the least skilled gamer of the group. Like, I have my games that I'm good at, and that's it. You guys are like good at everything, which is why you're doing a gaming thing. Yeah.
Oh, you should see me trying to drive at GTA.
Okay. I'm looking at your hot toys in the background right now, Keenan. I'm looking at your beautiful Thor, Batman, and Spider-Man, and they're just so gorgeous. When Terran Malicos becomes a hot toy, I'm getting that for you.
Oh my god, dude. What would I even do with him?
You need to drive to his house and have him standing up outside his doorway.
Just like, don't even tell Keenan that like I got it for him. Like, he just walks out at the door and Terran Malicos is just staring at him.
Put down a boombox that's like playing the like right next to him.
He's like, no,
not me. Why are you coming for me?
Anyways,
man.
You should if you do try to beat him on Grandmaster, you should record it because I need to see how
the pressure
it goes.
the pressure is gonna be real. Like, we'll see how
he's
it goes.
not
By the
fun
way,
on Grandmaster.
Before we need to wrap this up, but how do you get the Inquisitor cow skin? Do I have to go on New Journey Plus, or
you have to start New Game Plus? Yeah.
Oh, okay. And that's when that gives it to you.
And you can even do it like mid cutscene too. So like I put it on, and then the camera like zooms in on Cal working on that stuff, and he's just in the Inquisitor suit. And then like Prof is like, hey, the boss wants us to go this way, and like Inquisitor Cal's just like, yeah, okay. And then like I was at the point where the two. Where the ninth and the second sister show up, and they're like, we're looking for the Jedi, and like Inquisitor Cal's just like sitting right there, and he's just like, I don't know.
He's like,
Love it.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I'll go on New Journey Plus and I'll get that, and then I'll get to like a safe. Oh no, my abilities will be totally scrapped though, won't they?
Yeah,
okay.
They are all gone.
Okay.
If you choose Inquisitor Cal, you do automatically have a red lightsaber selected. I don't know if you can change it while having that suit on. I don't know for sure. But they did say that all of the lightsabers and like the crystals are unlocked still.
Yeah. Dude, purple lightsaber Inquisitor Cal though.
Whew. Give me some of that.
We got to get Keenan his own lightsaber, man. Like a good one, not Vader's from Galaxy's Edge.
Why is that not a good one?
Because it's from the Disney corporate scum.
It's a $200 lightsaber.
Yeah, well, mine was $320 and is way brighter and cool. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't judge.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have Maul's. It's like a Hasbro. Anyway, we're getting way off topic. We need to end this.
Yeah, give me a lightsaber. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I got a $5 one from Walmart.
Give him that one.
I do have my legit purple lightsaber. It's in the back over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't chase down the mailman to get it.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to this episode. We hope we were entertaining enough. And I will remind you all once again, because I am legally obligated to, otherwise Keenan will shoot me. I'm just kidding, he won't. But
actually, he has a rifle aimed on him right now. So
I'll have a lightsaber. Anyways, follow us at comicblast_ on Twitter and Instagram. You can find all of our personal social medias in the bios of those, and you can also find all of the links to everything in the description of wherever you're listening to this, hopefully. And like I said, patreon.com/comicblast if you want to throw us a quick buck there, or don't. Totally up to you. And yeah. Anything else?
Everyone needs to be aware that just because I joined the podcast, it doesn't mean we're going to be talking about Star Wars all the time. That's just the news that's going on right now.
Next week we'll have a better blend, but like we had a lot of Star Wars news to catch up on, so bear with us. Next week should have more of a variety, but yeah. Other than that, sure Zoom.